Welcome to Doctor's Homestead. My name's Daniel, and we saw the movie Homestead yesterday, and I want a little time to digest before we jumped in, before we talked about the movie. I'm going to just jump right in. Didn't like it. Super disappointed. I'm going to explain why I was super disappointed in Homestead, and I wanted it to be a good movie. I like the idea of homesteading. We've been homesteading out here for a little while, and as much as we do homestead, we've been homesteading out here for a little while. Homestead movie, how cool is that? Post-apocalyptic, prepping, all those genres, everything we love, all rolled into one. Flop. That's my opinion. I didn't think it was a very good movie. There's going to be spoilers. I don't know how I can dig through this without some spoilers, so we're going to warn that right away. I'm not really going to tell you how it ends, I don't think. Probably won't go there. It wasn't even worth mentioning. But there's some points I want to bring, some things I think they completely missed on, some bad prepping advice they gave you in the movie. So let's talk through it. Let's go through this point by point. Had to put on the hat since main character wears a hat. He's got his cowboy hat on, even though he certainly doesn't have any cows, but neither do I. There's no criteria to wear a cowboy hat, and apparently there's no criteria to have a homestead. But I think on YouTube, the minimum is one chicken, right? I think for YouTube to be a homestead, you have to have one chicken. They didn't have any chickens, right? We'll dig into that. I don't understand why they didn't have any livestock at all on their homestead. Preppers, yes, absolutely. Little jealous on the prepper front of some of the stuff they had. But some of the things they did, some of the things they didn't have, once again, no, it didn't make sense. I don't know whose YouTube channel they're watching to get ideas on what homesteading is, but they missed it. So, opening scene, graphic, terrorist attack on the West Coast, on the United States, some kind of nuclear, chemical, dirty bomb all rolled into one, blows up, does some damage, right? Unclear on the damage, spreads some weird smoky stuff that they don't really get into. People are freaking out, people are panicking, and a select few are like, we're going to the homestead. SHTF has happened. We're getting our go bag, getting a little go bag, this tiny little duffel bag, their go bag, and they're going for the homestead. So they're all preppers, they all have their go bags, getting their Tesla, which of course ironically didn't have enough battery, enough juice to get to the homestead, but I think they just wanted to make fun of Tesla and Elon Musk. Nobody likes him anymore, so they had to say that Tesla was a crappy choice, but they get in their go bag, they're going to the homestead, and they call, hey, homestead, hey, we're coming in. She's like, oh, we'll have the servants get your room ready at our mansion. And it was a very impressive mansion. I feel like they were trying to channel Yellowstone, because in Yellowstone they had the big fancy house, and it was quite a mansion. They didn't really explore it too much, but apparently had servants, so incredibly wealthy, and good for them. Even though it's fictional character, I'm not putting them down for being incredibly wealthy. Having a huge mansion, having servants, they're going to get the rooms ready as other people are coming into the homestead. You can have a big house and still be a homestead. You need a chicken. I'm just throwing that out there. So no livestock. Never saw one chicken. From a prepper standpoint, from a homesteader standpoint, we get more food from the chickens than from the garden, right? Just to be honest here, I could live just on the eggs from my chickens. We get enough chickens that would feed us if we had to in an emergency. I say an emergency because no one wants to live on eggs all day, every day. I've done it for little periods just because we had a lot of eggs. No one wants to do that, but I don't know of any homesteaders without any livestock, no regenerative agriculture, no canning. They didn't can. We'll get into that. No canning, no dehydrating, no freeze drying. They preserve their harvest by making wine. The whole scene on that in order to preserve the harvest, they make wine, which I'm not complaining about. But I've never seen a homestead where you're not canning, you're not actually preserving food for the winter. Oh, we make wine. We take all our orchards are all peaches and we make wine, which peach wine is great, but no actual sense. And they seem to have no idea how to actually preserve food in their homestead. Once again, no animals. They had a lot of land, had an unlimited amount of money. No cows, no chickens, no pigs, ducks, nothing. No livestock at all, just they're vegetarian homesteaders. Sure, that can be a thing, but preppers for sure, right? A little jealous about some of their preps. So they mention they have a wheat field somewhere, you never see it. They showed multiple greenhouses in the flyover, but they had no idea how to grow food in the winter, how to preserve food in the winter. But they showed you the greenhouses. And then I think they forgot they had them, because that comes up later. They're like, oh my God, we invented a greenhouse. They showed them. They had greenhouses, which is cool. You can have greenhouses. And I'm not saying you have to eat meat to be a homesteader, but their balance, their lack of anything regenerative, just we grow peaches, we have a wheat field somewhere, we don't have any tractors or any of that stuff, but we're homesteaders, right? Because we've got a $100 million house with a bunker full of guns, which the guns was cool. Don't get me wrong. Preppers, absolutely. Homesteaders, no chance. No. Sorry. Who was your homestead consultant, my opinion was a miss, right? Did not feel anything homesteady about it. Self-sufficiency seemed to be lacking. Absolutely, we're preppers, right? Totally cool. Ultra rich, living in a mansion with servants, machine guns with millions of rounds of ammo. That's what he said. We have 1 million rounds of ammo, and we got machine guns, and he had a whole bunker with weapons on the wall, which is super cool. Sort of jealous of that, right? We're not going to get into that. Main character Ian Ross, the man that put it all together, right? He put together the bunker and the machine guns and this whole setup and the walls and the base. Totally indecisive, right? And I didn't understand that about the character. Seemed to have no plan, no idea what to do, completely indecisive. Like, you built this massive compound, this prepper compound, yet completely indecisive, no plan. No idea really how to handle any situations, very weak, very indecisive. Now, there was a point, right? There was the gate, right? They've got the gate. People are lined up at the gate, all their friends that want to get in, right? Can we get in? No, you can't. We can't let you in. We can't feed everybody, which is a dilemma. And they were trying to play out the prepper dilemma, the post-apocalyptic SHTF dilemma, which is you have limited supplies no matter your situation. Even if you're this guy with his, $100 million worth of preps, how many people can you let in, right? There's a limited number of people you can feed, so they didn't let the people in, right? And there was actually a great movie on that, After Dark, originally titled The Philosophers. We've talked about that before. 20 students had to decide who they were going to bring in their bunker and why, and they sort of rolled that into the movie, which, hey, they brought the people in, sorry for the spoiler, but their skills, they had all these great skills that they didn't have. They didn't know how to do solar power, even though they had to be running on some kind of power. And they didn't have horses. They were using what looked like electric bikes, but apparently they didn't have power. People coming in knew how to do solar and how to do a greenhouse, but they already had greenhouses. They showed them. We saw them. You saw the greenhouses. So to me, that made no sense. Weird scrape. But that is a dilemma, right? Who do you let in? But I believe they said it was 30 days. They're like, okay, after 30 days, they let all these people in. Well, people don't live very long without food, right? So you're telling me these people, this group, unknown number, 50 people, 60 people, were camped out in front of their gate saying, hey, can we come in, as they were starving to death, right? The timeline doesn't work. Timeline makes no sense. You let the people in, or you have them move along, or they'd move along on their own, or they wouldn't be looking very good. So that jump between how much time had passed and when they let them in, and all these people just kind of camped out front saying, hey, can we get some free food? Seemed a little silly. Didn't make any sense, right? So medical bay, super cool. Totally jealous. I want one of those. Got medical supplies, but I don't have a doctor and a nurse on staff with a whole medical bay set up. Well, we have some of that, but we don't have that really set up as a homestead. I mean, come on. I mean, ultra rich prepper, doomsday bunker where you got a doctor and a whole medical bay set up. Cool for a movie, cool for a TV series, Star Trek. You take them to the sick bay. Basically what they got the sick bay. Not sure how that even plays in, but it's so extreme, so out there to make that feel realistic. But I guess the idea is he had unlimited budget. They didn't say what he did. Seemed like a weak, indecisive character that was extremely wealthy, put this all together, had a sick bay. I want a sick bay. I'm just saying that. I want a sick bay. No situational awareness at all. They had no idea what was going on in the world around them. So they close the gate and everybody stays in, never goes out. You got crowds of people just standing peacefully at the gate waiting to get in. They didn't send out scouts. They had zero situational awareness, no ham radio, right? They seemed to be able to connect with some computer and contact someone on a cell phone on the other side of the country, but no idea what was going on, which I understand. We're saying post-HTF, grid down. it's going to be hard to get information. It's going to be hard to go know what's going on. But there's not going to be zero information, right? Even if there's EMP, there's going to be radio. There's going to be ham radios. There's going to be radios going on. People are going to have communications going on. The fact that he had no radios, no ham radios, no idea what was going on in the real world, no connection with town, which just seemed to be down the road. When he had all these guys, they had their trucks, right? How do you not have situational awareness? How do you not have contact with the outside world? How do you let 30 or 40 people just standing outside the gate? Can we come in today? We're real hungry, as they're like starved to death the amount of time that passed. Didn't send out scouts, anything like that. No idea. Oh, well, what's going outside? Don't know. We don't leave the compound, which I understand, right? You want to stay home, homebody, right? Homebody, but you've got to have situational awareness. They've got to know what's going on. They had operators, trained operators, soldiers there. They could have been sending out scouts. They could have made contact with the local government, right, which seem to be doing fine but not doing fine, and they want their stuff. I mean, it feels like a build-up for a long TV show, certainly, right? Nothing was resolved. And then the weird twist on the scouts is there's someone that was like some kind of brain issue, brain damage, don't know what he was. He's like, oh, I just got here. I came from Vegas. I was hanging out in Vegas. Vegas is great. So is Vegas great? Is Vegas not great? Is there no problem at all? And they don't know because they don't have any radios. They didn't turn on the TV. No signals playing, but everything's good. Like, I understand fog of war idea, and it would be hard to get information and hard to know what was going on. But they seem to make no effort to make contact, to send out scouts, to understand what's going on. They're giving stuff away because they think it's over. It's not over. Is it over? We don't know. That's the big plot twist. One of the big plot twists. Not trying to give away the ending. I warned of spoilers, right? I don't think it's worth spoiling or not spoiling at this point. Just didn't feel like Homesteaders. Preppers made a lot of weird mistakes. Characters didn't really line up. Characters didn't make sense. Other than the first 5 minutes, just the overall action and flow and feel just was a huge miss, right? Not a fan. Wanted it to be better. I wanted it to be better than what it was. There was basically zero action, right? They created the moral dilemmas that you might expect in SHTF. When do you shoot? Who do you shoot? What do you do for people coming in the door? What happens when the local government wants your supplies? I get they check the box on these different moral dilemmas, post-apocalyptic, but the entire layout, the entire setup, it's a homestead when there was nothing homesteady about it, just missed the mark. I feel like the whole thing missed the mark. So you got to give it like one tomato, whatever the tomato score is. They got one tomato. Unless you're throwing them. If you're throwing the tomatoes, they need a bunch of tomatoes. But no, not very good. Not worth it. Unfortunate miss. I think there's a lot they could have done with the idea. There's a lot of YouTubers. It doesn't have to be me. A lot of Homestead YouTubers they could have talked to. Anybody that homesteads they could have talked to, and they might have done better. But somehow feel like they just missed the mark on what they were trying to do. Saying, just calling it, yeah, hey, you called, yeah, the homestead, yeah, you called this is the homestead, yeah, we're here, homestead, oh, yeah, we'll have the servants get your room ready at the homestead, right? I mean, come on. It didn't play out, didn't make sense, just not a great movie. So that's my review. As always, thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.